What's going on, everybody? I'm back in California at my good friend Moses and Monica's home, and they just got this beautiful refrigerator and stove. Yeah, I kind of miss everything being crazy large compared to all the tiny little appliances in Bangkok and all. Yeah, I love their home in San Diego. Sun's coming up. There's the canyon. And my good friend of the family, Bruno, he's staying at the home. He just transferred from the East Coast to a ship here in San Diego. So we're going to jump in his car and he's going to drop me at the train. Head up and see my folks. And Bruno just dropped me off. I'll get a shot of his car here. Bruno will get a kick out of, see ya, that huge power wagon. You're not going to find too many trucks that size running around Thailand. He just drove that thing out from Norfolk, Virginia to his new ship here in San Diego. He's a gunner's mate working on, I think he's working on torpedoes now. He was doing the Sea Whiz, that gun that, it's like a Gatling gun when a missile's coming inbound to the ship. It just throws out a barrage of 50 caliber, I think they're 50, shells. Oh, I don't know what size they are. I did paperwork. But it just throws out a bunch of bullets and hits the missile before it hits the ship. And the number 9 bus heading into Pacific Beach, my old stomping grounds. I'm at the Amtrak coaster, which is the train. I'm heading up to Oceanside to meet my cousin and grab a car at my folks' house. But that's the light rail, the trolley they call it here in San Diego. I only really use that to go to jury duty, park here or somewhere and ride the train downtown where it's expensive to park. But I'm kind of an expert on trains and buses and everything in Bangkok. But my own home, where I lived for decades and decades, yeah, I just had to ask how to buy a coaster ticket. It's all apps now, and I'm just needing a one-way ticket. It's $6.50 to go about whatever that is, 45 miles from Old Town here in San Diego. The next station that way is downtown, but I'm going in the other direction. 3 or 4 stations to Oceanside. I came in yesterday from the Los Angeles area on the Amtrak, the same track as the coaster commuter line. And then there's the Sprinter, which goes inland here in San Diego. And another train, I think it's called the Metro Link. It goes from Oceanside up towards, I don't know if it goes all the way to Orange County. I think it heads inland and heads to Riverside. And this is the coaster commuter train. But I am heading in the other direction. Should be here in 5 minutes. And just comparing the prices, the bus is $2.50 one way. I'm sure there's discounts for passes and senior citizens, veterans, different programs. But compared to 12 baht on the non-air conditioned bus in Bangkok, $2.50 one way on that number 8 MTS, the Metropolitan Transit System bus. And we're off. That tower off in the background, that's covered up now, is SeaWorld San Diego. And it's a nice clean train. There's a little glimpse of the traffic on Highway 5. That's Mission Bay, and I forget what that property is, the Hilton Mission Bay, yes. And that little hill off to the right is Pacific Beach, where I carried mail. As a matter of fact, those apartments right, I can't put my finger there, right across the bay there. That was my route for, forever, 26 years. Those apartments right there. A little bit more, Mission Bay. That used to be one of the most expensive trailer parks in the world. It looks like they've leveled all the trailers. It was Dianza. This little hill overlooking the ocean in Pacific Beach. I've delivered mail up there. I've delivered every route in Pacific Beach, but it was one admiral and captain after another. I'm sure they all bought their homes for $70,000 in the 70s when everybody else was buying a $20,000 home, and now these homes are worth millions. And I believe we're cutting through part of Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, the former Naval Air Station, home of Top Gun. Here's a little glance at the Pacific Ocean, coming out of the La Jolla area, heading towards Del Mar. And those cars are on the PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. Always doing construction to keep the seawall from crumbling. Sometimes it's a problem with the railroad tracks. I miss even small waves. That's the only thing with Thailand. I wish there were a couple of spots to play around in the surf. And this is Del Mar. Very popular spot right here on the grass for weddings. Just off on the right side of the train, I don't know if we'll be able to see it with the glare, is the famous Del Mar racetrack. Sorry, this window's all covered with dew, but that's the racetrack. They call it where the turf meets the surf. Yeah, this isn't a good shot at all. I apologize. Let's see if there's some horses out on the track training. No, looks like they're doing some maintenance. Even if you're not into the ponies, you need to look into the Del Mar race season. I believe there's two since they closed. Oh, it was either Hollywood Park or Santa Anita. One of the LA tracks closed down, and now they, from what I understand, have two meetings at Del Mar. They'll do rock concerts, and it's just a really good time. The train's coming to a stop at Solana Beach Station. It says from here it's 42 minutes until Oceanside. Solana Beach, just to the right, has the Belly Up Tavern, one of my go-to spots for live music. It'd also be the train you take to Del Mar. The Amtrak train makes these same stops. Takes off in downtown San Diego, then Old Town. Then I think it stops at Solana Beach up to Oceanside. However, that ticket is $19 one way. This is $6.50 on this coaster train. If you're heading up to Disneyland, Anaheim, points beyond to Los Angeles, maybe flying out of LAX, well then you have to take the Amtrak. But just to get to Oceanside, there's no sense. I think we'll have some more beach off to the left here. Yeah, beautiful. And this is leaving Solana Beach. Shoot, what is next? Cardiff by the Sea, I believe. And then Encinitas. We have the lagoon on both sides of the road. Interstate 5, the large highways. 1 mile to the right. It's one of my favorite Mexican restaurants right there, Las Olas. And a couple of really good little beach bars. The Kraken, it's a great bar right across the street from Pacific Coast Grill. It's been named a couple of things. And this is Del Mar's Dog Beach. I'm sorry, it's not Del Mar's Dog Beach. I'm getting mixed up. This is a really nice little campground. That was the Cardiff Kook we just passed, surfing statue. Little community of Cardiff by the Sea. It's kind of famous. Tony Hawk. He used to live here. Rob Machado, famous surfer. San Julio State Beach. Great little place to camp right over the ocean. We're coming up into Encinitas. This is a real interesting, right down here they call this beach Swamis. Even in the freezing water right now there'll be people surfing. I don't think I can see from this angle. But right on the right here is the Self-Realization Center. Fellowship, different yogis and things happening in there. I don't know the entire story. It goes back at least 150 years. Some famous yogi was coming down the coast and they purchased that property for him as a gift. Really, really great community here in Encinitas, California. It's awesome. And it appears the coaster's making a stop here. Right there's the La Paloma movie theater. An original from the 40s, I guess. I saw Pearl Jam in there. Eddie Vedder is from this area. And they did a concert early on. Kind of a payback to his hometown. Or home area. I think he grew up, what is it place? In between here and Carlsbad. I'm drawing a blank. And yes, I know Pearl Jam's from Seattle, but if I remember the story right, Mother Love Bone from Seattle, Eddie Vedder was a huge fan and friends with the band. And when the lead singer, I'm forgetting his name, when he passed, they kind of slid Eddie in there, and the band changed to Pearl Jam. Leucadia, that's where I'm thinking. I had an ex. Her parents owned a bunch of, that's Moonlight Beach, that's a famous beach. Her parents owned a bunch of round table pizzas, and Eddie worked at the location. I think it was in Leucadia. He had pretty hard family life, and he occasionally slept in the storeroom, but he never forgot the help the family gave him when he was, I'm guessing, 15, 16. So if you go into the round table pizza on El Camino Real, and it's either Leucadia or somewhere close by, there are Pearl Jam gold records on the wall, and they're not replicas. It's the real deal. I think we've switched into Leucadia. Just on the other side of these homes is the Pacific. Lou's Records right there. Best record store in the world. We used to do concerts in the parking lot. Everybody played there. Mudhoney. Nirvana was supposed to play in the parking lot, probably 89. Don't think it happened, but everybody else played there. If money was not an issue, I would have a little tiny house here in Leucadia and still live in Thailand. But this is where I would want to hang out, at least for a month at a time. Little tiny Leucadia post office. So next stop will be Carlsbad. Some beautiful, expensive homes. No insulation, no central heat or air. Well, maybe, but it's unneeded. Nice little display there on the side of, this is probably one of the most expensive trailer parks in the world. This is the Poinsettia, Carlsbad. My parents actually live about 5 miles inland from here. I'm meeting my cousin at the Oceanside train center, and we're gonna go over to my folks' house. And I've mentioned it in a couple other videos. My dad finished his career with TaylorMade Golf. They're right here in Carlsbad. I mean, You could walk to TaylorMade, Callaway. Somebody else is there. There's like maybe Cobra. I think there's 3 major golf centers all near each other. And you can see different people will come up here on their bikes and then make the beautiful ride back towards San Diego. This guy looks like he's enjoying his day. And just off to the right here is Palomar Airport. I used to fly my little Cessna in there. At one time it was the busiest single airport, GA airport, I don't know, something. It had a distinction of, I think it was the most jet traffic at basically a small GA airport or class Delta. Very, very busy airport. A lot of very rich people coming to this area. Michael Jordan's always playing golf at Aviera, which is very close. There's Leucadia. Some famous golf courses in the area. I used to work right there at San Diego Gas and Electric for a minute. I probably should have stayed there instead of some hard working at the post office. We're coming into the main downtown Carlsbad area. Beautiful little beachside town. I don't know what they're growing in there. I think it's oysters. Some kind of man-made pens. Nice little beachside condos. And then just past Carlsbad will be the end of the line, Oceanside Transit Center. That's where you'll find one of the larger marine bases in the world, Camp Pendleton. I grew up on Camp Pendleton. My dad, towards the end of his naval career, he was a hospital corpsman. They worked with the Marines. He did, I don't know how many ships, half dozen ships. Then he went with the Marines towards the end of his career. And we grew up on the San Clemente side of the base. And then over here, he bought a home in Oceanside. Camp Pendleton must be 40 miles of prime Pacific Ocean real estate, and then it goes inland. I don't know how far, 60, 70, 80 miles. You would always hear the tanks and huge howitzers going off back there, and my younger sisters would be scared. It'd shake the whole house. Or we had a mobile home on Camp Pendleton for a while, and it'd just shake it, and my dad would just calm them down and tell them those are the sounds of freedom. These breeze buses, from what I understand, they're more express buses. They jump on the freeway and head inland to points like San Marcos and Escondido. Again, living out here, I've always had a car. I usually had 2 cars in case one broke down. So I didn't really understand the bus and train system, but it's a pretty nice, elaborate system. Get you around town more so than sitting on a bus for 3 hours. You can jump on one of these express buses that might stop 3 or 4 times. Yeah, it's certainly good to be back and see my good friends and see my old stomping grounds. I do love Thailand. And it will be great to see the family. Here's the Army Navy Academy. I think O.J. Simpson's kids went here, or his son. Military school. No regrets moving or living in Thailand. But it doesn't matter where you're from. Home is home. I just happen to be from one of the more beautiful parts of the world. There's no denying. We used to jump off the railroad tracks right up here somewhere. Maybe we passed it. The stupid things you do as kids. There's a section of the train tracks over a little thing of water. Yep, I know all these streets and in the Carlsbad area like back of my hand. Well, now we're getting into Oceanside. Yep, there's I think that's called Tremont Street Beach. I actually got hired as a mailman in Oceanside January of 1990, and I worked here for 2.5 years before I transferred to San Diego. So as a brand new mailman, I filled in for every person on vacation, did every route in Oceanside. I think there's 4 zip codes. That's how large the city is. These beach towns are interesting. There'll be a $10 million house next to a little tiny beach cottage that is still worth $1 million or $700,000, probably closer to $1 million. There is nothing cheap anywhere in California close to the beach. I'm trying to find it. There was a little beach bar we used to hang out at somewhere around here. We're on Wisconsin now. And this is it. We're coming into Oceanside Transit Center. I guess I got on the more express train. I thought it would take an hour and 20 minutes, and this is the 1-hour train apparently. So this is it. I just asked a gentleman if this was the end of the line. He says yes. The train stays here for, I think he said 10 minutes, and then it turns around and heads back to San Diego. Let's go take a quick peek at Oceanside. I'm about 20 minutes before my cousin is scheduled to pick me up. It looks like we're changing conductors. And I came through here the other night on my way towards San Diego on the Amtrak. I must have pulled in over here. Looked like the Amtrak section. Things have certainly changed. Even when I lived up here, I hadn't ran around the beach in Oceanside in 10 years. But up here towards the left should be the pier. Let's go take a peek. Also, if it's still there, the Top Gun house. If you remember the original Top Gun where he jumped on his bike and went to his girlfriend's house at the beach. That was right over here. Through the magic of Hollywood. I think he was racing up a street in downtown San Diego, and 2 turns later he was here in Oceanside, 50 miles away. And I need to use the restroom, and now that I'm back in the US, I think it's going to be a little trickier. Unfortunately, with homeless folks, there is a security guard straight ahead, but back to reality on restrooms being locked up tight. I get it. Some people that are a little out there might set up residency in a restroom. That's a little sad, but it's a reality. Yes, you can see the big slide down gates and restroom 5 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. and then they have to hustle everybody out, and a homeless person or unhoused person, I don't want to say the incorrect thing, just walked out. But we all have a need to use the restroom. If it's in Bangkok or in Europe, everybody seems to understand with public toilets everywhere. But in the US, it's always been a thing. Forget about pulling into a gas station anymore. They used to give you a hubcap with a key hanging off it. I don't even think they do that anymore. So many people have gone in there and broke the sink off the wall and things like that, that I get it. As a private business person, it's just not worth it. Now here's more of the buses linking to the trains. Anybody that spent some time on Camp Pendleton back in the day, even into the 80s, remembers Hill Street. Kind of a infamous street here. This would be Hill Street to the right. 4 blocks maybe. It's now, I think it's called South Coast Highway. They kind of wanted to lose that Hill Street reputation and sailor and marine bars. And it's replaced with probably darn near $1 million condos. And just a short distance in this direction, you'll find Interstate 5. Yes, sir, Oceanside, California. Somewhere up here on the left is the Surf Museum. And here comes one of the more beautiful trains in the world, the Pacific Surfliner. I'm not positive. I think that train goes all the way to Seattle. I don't know. But some beautiful, beautiful views from San Diego up the coast. I took the Surfliner from Fullerton, which is inland from the beach, 20 miles near Anaheim and Disneyland. I flew into Palm Springs from Chicago on this trip, and they have an Amtrak bus that connects you to the Amtrak train in Fullerton. And then I rode it down to San Diego, where my buddy Moses picked me up. Okay, I remember this building way back in the day, the Seabird. That's old school. I'm walking down Mission Boulevard. That's or Mission Avenue. It's one of the famous streets here in Oceanside. My post office it's gone now, but it was just off of Mission Avenue. It looks like some surfboards for the guests. That's the Oceanside Pier straight ahead. I do have to get back in about 10 minutes. I was going to take you out on the pier, but I'm not going to be late in case my cousin rolls up a little early. Beautiful view here at the beach. Some surfers, full wetsuits. People think San Diego, nice warm water. No, the water's freezing here, even in the summer. That's Oceanside Pier with the little Oceanside amphitheater. It looks like they have something set up down there, some kind of little gathering today. Some really nice hotels and condos right at the beach. Compared to Bangkok prices, we can't even have that same conversation. I would guess a 1-bedroom apartment in that building, and this is just a guess, $4,000, $5,000 US dollars. That would not be uncommon. Even if it was $3,000, that's still a lot of money for my retirement paycheck. That's the thing about growing up in California. Like right here on the beach to the right, there used to be these crummy little apartments, and my one friend had a place in there. We thought he was crazy because he was paying $600 a month. Maybe it was $700, and we were all paying $300, inland, not even a couple of miles. But that was a great little place. We all kept boards, boogie boards, and surfboards there. It was nice. There were no meters like you see here. You just get yourself down to the beach and go grab a board at your buddy's house. Cost of admission was bringing a 12-pack once in a while. Yeah, it was like this, just one of these simple little rooms, but over here on the beach side. Nothing special, but even this little tiny almost like a little motel room. I'm sure it's still, again, I'm making up these numbers, for a little tiny 10-meter room, $1,100. You want to buy this little 900 square foot cottage house overlooking the ocean? It's going to be in the millions. You can look up Castles by the Sea vacation rentals. See what kind of prices they have listed. And that Top Gun house may not even be here any longer. This is such expensive real estate, and it took up a whole little area, like you see here on the left, with 8 apartments. It was just one little house. Although it may have been declared not a historical landmark, but I don't know, sometimes there's protection involved. It's just so hard to build anything anywhere in California. You want to build a swimming pool onto your house, 2-3 year wait, and then maybe they'll get started on construction. Yeah, I think that house was somewhere in this area, so I need to get back over to the train area here and get picked up by my cousin. So thanks for following along. A little peek at the California coast here from San Diego to Oceanside. I'll be hanging out visiting family for a while, but I'll be back in Thailand soon. I get it. If you have no interest in California, I'm just here and this is my little hobby, so this is what I'm doing. But I'll be back soon, making my walk and talks around Bangkok. If that's of interest to you, consider subscribing. So you take it easy and have a great morning from Oceanside, California. We'll see you later.